Hello, my name is Shia Ritchie, and we're going to be going over these case studies together. So we'll start with Amy. We arrive at her house at 7 a.m. on Friday. We assess vitals. Um, Blood pressure's a tad high, pulse is 90, and her temperature is a perfect 98.6. Performing a vaginal exam, we assess that she's 2 centimeters dilated, 100% effaced, and zero station. It says that she's struggling with contractions though and needs a lot of support. So I think the primary thing I would do is to advise Amy to hydrate and to move position a little bit. Um, the baby being at zero station, we could try to do some maneuvers to get the baby a little bit lower. 2 centimeters dilated is early, but as a primip, we don't really know how fast or how slow she may progress. So I'm probably just gonna wait around for like a couple of hours just to see what happens and how much she progresses in that time frame. Um, if there's no progression at like 2 centimeters dilated, I probably would go home and just advise her when to call me. Um, every 3 minutes, 1 minute long or more, and it's like that for at least an hour. Um, and the reason why we're asking her to hydrate and maybe rest and maybe eat is because her blood pressure was a little bit high, that 180. Um, so, are we offering AROM to Amy? Probably not. I wouldn't offer AROM ever unless it was clinically necessary. But if the client was like, I want it right now, and like it was like at a good time to break the water, yeah, I'm gonna do it for the client. So yeah, especially because she's a primip, we seriously just don't know how and how long her labor is gonna take. So I wouldn't want to break her water and she stays in labor for like the next 4 days. Like nobody wants that because then that's an immediate transfer. Moving on to Bess. 4 hours in labor with no change. The kids have woken up. They're very active in the house. She's getting frustrated. Doesn't want a vaginal. Oh, she does want a vaginal exam. She's 8 centimeters, 100% effaced, and zero station. So my suggestion probably for Bess would be to like maybe clear the kids out of the house. Not like away, but like maybe the backyard, maybe down the furthest room in the house, or in a room with a closed door. It seems like she might be a little bit overwhelmed by the environment and really needs like to calm down a little bit because she's right there. She's right there, and I think she just needs a little loosening and relaxing to get her body to actually start getting the baby out. So that would probably be my primary suggestion for Bess. Again, I'm not going to offer AROM to Bess because, well, first of all, she's progressing beautifully. I think we just need to see what happens when the family's migrated elsewhere, and it's very possible that, heck, in less than an hour, that baby should be out. Now on to Claire, our grand mole tip. She's feeling pressure, and you can hear her bearing down with the next contraction. She breaks her own water at 120, and then there's foreign meconium present. So if there's foreign meconium present, we could assume, well, we don't ever want to assume, we could guesstimate that maybe the baby's breech. And we know that because it's formed meconium, which is like a really sweet way to say poop, you know? That could not always be the case, but I think in this moment, especially since the water's broken, we could either. There's a couple things we could do. We could offer a vaginal exam because if the baby's breech, that's actually kind of serious, so we want to know what we're dealing with here. And if the client's like, I do not want a vaginal exam, there's two things we can offer, which is we can palpate as best as we can. We could lay fetal heart tones and find where in the body that we're getting those fetal heart tones. If it's a lot lower, higher, it might be that the baby is breech, or we can just ask the client to put their fingers down there and see what they feel. If they feel something round and soft and a little bit of hair, that's the head. If they're feeling a whole bunch of different things, like something a little more, how do you describe a butt? Soft one place, bony another place, very, very small, maybe a little crack, maybe a foot, yeah, then that's probably a breech baby. So we are going to do two things. We're going to assess what sort of progress is happening here. She's bearing down, which means like this baby is coming, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that the baby's like coming right now. So we're going to call EMS anyway. We're going to call EMS. We're going to chart as best as we can, because what we don't want is for, on paper, it to look like we're planning to deliver a baby breech the entire time. But if time is of the essence, the baby's got to be delivered. So if the baby is born before EMS gets here, then hey, we've just delivered a baby breech. But it's just good to make sure that we have covered ourselves, but don't want to add any additional stress to Claire. With someone who's a grand mole tip, it's extremely likely that her baby's just gonna slip right on out. So mentally, I'm thinking that we're probably gonna deliver this baby here at home. And this is my baby. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my case studies. Have a good one.